If you are a solopreneur or somehow running an online business, when do you need a payroll provider, or do you need one at all? Today I'm going to share with you how to know when to sign up with a payroll service, and when you do, how to pick the right payroll provider for your online business. Let's do this. Hi, my name is Jim Hart. I'm the founding attorney here at Hawthorn Law, where we help small business owners and online businesses to get their legal house in order so they can focus on what they do best, building something that truly matters in the world. And before we get into today's video, I want to ask you to take a minute and give me a like button, hit the little bell thingy down below, don't forget to subscribe, all the stuff. Today we're going to be answering another viewer question from Jason D. Jason writes, "Glad you're back doing videos. For those of you who don't know, I did take a little bit of a hiatus over the summer, but I'm back. I found you recently as I'm setting up an LLC. It's just going to be me. I don't see any employees now or in the future. Do I still have to contract with a payroll provider just for me? Thanks." Jason, thank you so much for your question. That is a wonderful question. It's something that I get asked quite regularly by people through the comments and also people that schedule online consults with me. Here's the way you look at this. When you're just getting started in your business and you've just formed your LLC, or maybe you're still a sole proprietorship, you do not, at that point, let me stress, you do not need a payroll provider at that point. You will need a payroll provider when you decide to make an S Corp election. Now remember, an S Corp election is just you filling out a form and telling the IRS how you want to be taxed, that you want them to tax you as an S Corp. And one of the requirements of being taxed as an S Corp is that you pay yourself a reasonable salary. Now let's just take a minute and talk about what that means. I'm not going to talk about the number, what a reasonable salary is, but let's talk about what it means to actually pay yourself a salary. When you're paying yourself a salary, that means that you need to withhold FICA, you need to withhold Medicare, you need to withhold federal income taxes, you need to withhold state income taxes, maybe in some places you need to withhold local income taxes. There might be unemployment that needs to be paid. There's all sorts of things that need to come out of that paycheck. So if you remember back when you were a kid and you got your first paycheck and it was probably for like, $20, but when you got the paycheck you had like $15 and you're like, where's the other $5? That's what we're talking about. You need to make sure all that happens when you're paying yourself, even if you're a solopreneur running an online business by yourself and you don't have any employees at all. When you're paying yourself that salary, you need to make sure you take care of all those things. Trust me on this. This is something you absolutely positively do not want to do on your own. Administrative and legal, and the burden that's going to fall on you if you try to do this on your own. You're going to have to calculate how much tax to withhold. You're going to have to take that money and you're going to have to send deposits to the IRS, the state taxing authority, all the other places that you need to send it to. You need to file quarterly reports. There's a ton of stuff that needs to happen if you're going to pay yourself a payroll and you're going to try and do that yourself. Do not do it. I've been in business on my own since 2005. I've been an S corporation. I have never once done my own payroll. I've always used a payroll provider, and I gladly pay that fee every single month when I run a payroll to the company that's going to do that for me, because they do so much to make sure the payroll gets done correctly and that I don't have anything to worry about at the end of the year. Let's take a minute and look at what you should be considering when you are hiring a payroll provider to do this for you. There's all sorts of services out there. You've probably heard of most of them. If you've ever worked for an employer, they've got various payroll providers that you'll see. There's big national companies that do this. But there's a company that I like, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. And also, if you stick till the end, I have an offer for you that'll get you a $200 Amazon gift card. So that's important. Here are some of the things you want to think about with your payroll provider. Number one is going to be convenience. Now, if you're an online entrepreneur, chances are you might be working out of your home, you might be working out of another office, maybe you travel a lot, maybe you're a travel blogger, something like that, and you're always on the go, you're always someplace else. Well, back in the day when we did payroll, we'd have to call and we would have to tell the payroll provider how much we wanted to be paid and who's going to be paid what, and that's what we did. Now it's all online. You want to make sure that the provider that you use is convenient for you, because I remember we were on vacation and payroll was due. I wasn't someplace that I could quickly access. At this point it had switched from a call to an online form, and I wasn't someplace where I could access all that that information. It was very difficult, and we had a nightmare, and I almost was unable to do payroll that day. I think I had to go to like a Starbucks down the road, and we didn't have a car, and it was just, and this is before Uber, it was just ridiculous. Anyway, you want a provider that's convenient. You want to have a service that you can use ideally on your phone and just go through, click the buttons, and you set up the payroll without anything to worry about at all. So that's number one, is convenience. Number two, you want to know what you're paying. You want a transparent cost. What that means is how are you going to pay? Are you paying per person? Is it a flat fee? Are they charging you extra for services that you didn't realize they're charging you for, that you may or may not need? Is it transparent? Do you know what you're paying each month? That's really important. And along with that, I would want to make sure that the provider that you're using does not have a long-term commitment. So you're going to look for something that's probably on a month-to-month contract with you, so that when you run payroll, they do it. Now, payroll is one of those things, because all the taxes that are withheld and the reports that are filed, you really don't want to go switching providers on a month-to-month basis. You want to pick one and you want to stick with it. That's really important. So that kind of takes us to number three, which is the services that they provide. You want to make sure you're hiring a full-service payroll provider. Now, some people will go out and they'll hire bookkeepers to do this for them, or an accountant to do this for them, and a lot of accountants and bookkeepers will do this type of work. The problem I have with that is, and nothing against these accountants and bookkeepers, I'm sure they do a great job. I'm sure they've never had any problems with the IRS at all. I don't trust them. And the reason I don't trust them is because I'd rather go to a company that what they do is payroll. They've got the systems in place to do it. They do it correctly. They don't make any mistakes. It's all automated for the most part, and you just know that everything is going to get filed the right way and there's not going to be any problems. And they have insurance, so if they do make a mistake, you could theoretically sue them and they'd be able to pay you. If you go to a bookkeeper down the street who's doing this out of their home office and you're trusting they're going to do it right, well, what happens if they get sick, or they can't handle it, or they miss a filing? That's a problem. I don't trust that. So you want to make sure that you're hiring a full service provider that's going to be able to do all your federal deposits, all your state deposits, that they're going to run payroll each month. They can automate it if you want to. If you tell them just run this amount each month, they can do it that way. You're not going to have any problems. They're going to file all your quarterly taxes. They're going to potentially take care of deductions at the end of the year. They'll do your W-2s. They can do your 1099s if you've got independent contractors. All these things are very important for what you should be looking for in your payroll provider. So let's take a quick break. If you are using a payroll provider in your business already, go to the poll up there and let me know yes or no if you're using a payroll provider, or head down in the comments below and let me know if you're using a payroll provider. That'd be awesome. You knew I wasn't going to get out of this without a coffee break, right? Gotta have a coffee break. Let's do this. All right, so here's some other things, some final thoughts on what you need to use for your payroll provider. The next consideration is, do they work with your accounting software? So this is actually really important. If you're using QuickBooks Online, you're tracking all your income and your expenses, and that's cool. It works well. Putting in payroll is a whole different animal. It's a really complicated series of transactions, usually involving journal entries, and you need to make sure everything is withheld and accounted for the correct way, because at the end of the year, you need all your entries to match up with all your end of year entries, and so this is important that you do it correctly. Make sure that whoever you choose actually syncs up QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks Desktop, Xero, whatever your accounting solution of choice is. Make sure it syncs up with it so that when you run payroll, they can send the transactions directly to QuickBooks or whoever you use, and then you don't have to worry about making any mistakes when you make those entries at the end of the month. Make sense? All right, the next one is, what does their customer service look like? How responsive are they to you? If you've got a question, do they have tutorials? Do they have videos? Do they have blog posts that you can use to help you with all your payroll type questions? If you have a problem or you need to run payroll and you need to talk to somebody about it, do they have somebody available that can talk you through it? This is really important. You want to make sure they have a customer support system in place that's going to be really helpful and easy to use for you. Which really brings us to the last one, which is, do they have an easy to use platform? Is it intuitive? Do you get it? Is it if you log on, does it look like it's really old, or does it look like it's pretty updated with today's web? That's really important. I've used some of these platforms where they're dated, they're old. If you want to do anything, you need to talk to a representative that makes you wait on hold for forever. You want something that's going to be easy to use, that you can sign up quickly and get going and move forward with your payroll. Here is a link right here to my preferred payroll vendor. If you sign up through them, it is an affiliate link. I will get a small commission, but you will also get a $200 gift card to Amazon, which is pretty cool. It costs probably, that'll cover you for at least 4, maybe 5 months of service, depending on how many employees you have. And of course, we'll receive a small commission, which supports the channel. And since all of this payroll stuff really depends on you filing for your S election, here's another video right here that talks about how and when you should do that. So check it out. I will see you in the next video.